Welcome to Coffee and a Conversation hosted by CJ Abernathy for South Dakota District 23 Senate 2020. A father, an activist, a Marine Corps combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, Purple Heart recipient with a bachelor's degree in information technology software engineering. CJ is the executive producer for the Adam vs. the Man podcast with Adam Kokesh, and the CEO of Internet Warlords, the War for the Internet, as well as a former 2018 South Dakota Libertarian gubernatorial candidate, and a 2020 South Dakota delegate to the Libertarian National Convention. If you would like to join this broadcast, click the link in the description. Coffee and a Conversation starts now. Have a great day or don't. The choice is always yours.
Oh, coffee. Oh, coffee. Oh, there is no better coffee than the coffee you make at home. Can I get an amen? Man. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I'm back at home. It's great to be home. I miss Kendall. I missed Aubrey. I guess my audio is working. That's good. And yeah, just a interesting trip altogether. Right now as we speak, here in the moment, I have a coronaphobic person that is saying that I believe it's my right to kill people. So, let's see here. You'd probably walk around in the park naked, leering at children, and then scream at the parents. They can't force me to do anything. This is my freedom. See, this is where this shade person, is most likely, not a libertarian. Doesn't understand the concept of freedom, self-ownership, autonomy. And to you, Shade, I cannot fix your coronaphobic beliefs, and I believe you would be one of those people that would be like a Karen and call the police and use force of government to make people, do what you want them to do. So it's hard to take you serious when clearly you're coronaphobic. And there's some research into coronaphobia that is out there that I thought, well, that's just interesting. So we'll kind of take a peek at that here in a second. But I had a great time in Orlando. I mean, a great time. And I'm really glad I went. I got to meet everybody from Joe Jorgensen, Spike Cohen, and everybody down. See how I did that? I'll just name the top of the ticket, because I feel like everybody that was at the convention, I at least said hello to once. So it was an awesome experience to have and to be a part of. And even if you only got to participate online, I still think you were robbed of the experience. You were robbed of the opportunity to make connections with people that you otherwise wouldn't have had that opportunity to do. And yeah, so like I said, it was quite an experience. I got back yesterday. I immediately crashed out because I'm tired of traveling, and it's been a hell of a trip. So, but I do want to talk a little bit this morning before I get started about the coronaphobic out there, because I know there's a lot of them out there. I've seen it. I have witnessed it firsthand in my travels now. Yes, I put on a mask where people would use force of government to make it so that I have to comply. So, for example, on the plane, at the airport, except it was very hit and miss. It was, some people didn't wear it, some people did. Now on the plane, they made you, although there's a picture of Ted Cruz floating around on a commercial flight without a mask on. I don't know. Whole different thing. But one of the things that one of the things that I noticed was there's a lot of chronophobia going around, and this shade person being one of them. You can join my broadcast. It's live now. You just have to click the link. Most chronophobics are not actually brave enough or have the testicular fortitude, or what's the one for ladies? When if it's testicular fortitude for men, what is it? Ovarian fortitude. No, yeah, I guess they don't have the testicular fortitude to actually click the link and describe what they're trying to say in an articulable manner. And yeah, right. And so it blows my mind that again, this is just a pattern of behavior that is being displayed by people that most likely will be in the dictionary soon enough. It's already in studies, and it's called chronophobia. Now, chronophobia is the fear of the coronavirus, and the one that I was looking at was just this first study here that it explains and breaks down the psychological effects of what COVID-19 has done to people. The adverse psychological effects of COVID-19 have increased globally. Moreover, the psychological toll may be worsening for this health crisis due to the growing number of mass deaths and unemployment levels. Chronophobia, a relatively new pandemic-related construct, has been shown to be strongly related functional impairment and psychological distress. So, for example, this Shade Ingram here is an example of what it means to be chronophobic and having your mental health disorder displayed for the whole world to see. So, at the end of the day, I cannot fix people's phobias. I cannot make anybody not be afraid of something. Chronophobia, where is it? However, the extent to which chronophobia is uniquely accountable for the psychological distress experienced during the COVID-19 crisis has been systematically investigated. The current study examined this question of incremental validity using online data from 453 adult M-Turk workers in the U.S., the result of a series of yeah, you guys are the best reader in the world. Multiple regressions and analysis demonstrated that chronophobia explained additional variances in depression, generalized anxiety, and death anxiety above socio-demographics, COVID-19 factors, the vulnerability factors of neurotoxism, health anxiety, and reassurance-seeking behaviors. These findings suggest that the health professional should be aware of chronophobia, as this expression of pandemic-related stress has reliably demonstrated incremental validity in accounting for major indicators of psychological distress. So when I say chronophobia is real, I'm telling you it's a very real thing, and it's not that it's a person is choosing this. It's a mental health disorder at this point, and it's crazy that unfortunately that we live in a world where the coronaphobic are in control right now. But I'm glad this is a government website study. This is uh, this would be the National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. You can go to ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. That is where this is coming from. So, but again, it describes so much of what I've seen over the last 6-7 days. Is that there's a lot of people that live in the fear. The adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic are becoming frighteningly evident across the globe. The psychological toll of the health crisis may be worsening as the number of deaths, mass unemployment, and quarantine measures continue to rise at alarming rates. Although empirical research into this fear and anxiety about COVID-19 or coronaphobia and I don't think they actually coined it. I'm pretty sure they didn't coin this word. They didn't, and again, we'll let them just have it. Is still in the early phases of development. Some data suggest it is playing a prominent role in people's psychological well-being. For instance, many Americans are using prescription drugs to cope with their stress and anxiety, as demand for anti-anxiety medications has increased 34% from mid-February to mid-March in the year 2020. Research on chronophobia has revealed that individuals who are fearful and anxious about COVID-19 tend to experience a coherent set of unpleasant psychological symptoms that are triggered by thoughts or information associated with the infectious disease. Clinical levels of chronophobia have been operationally defined by scores of 9 or greater on the coronavirus anxiety scale. Chronophobia has been shown to be strongly associated with elevated depression, generalized anxiety, hopelessness, suicidal ideation, and functional impairments. More shockingly, alleged cases of suicide due to chronophobia are also beginning to emerge. Psychological distress emphasized through associations like generalized anxiety and depression may not be alone in their contributions to chronophobia. The cases of suicide draw into question the role of death anxiety on being a potential contributor, as there is relatively high mortality rate for COVID-19, especially compared to historical epidemics, the seasonal flu, and the leading cause of death in the United States. Thus, the emergence of possible death anxiety, depression, and generalized anxiety and their roles pertaining to chronophobia should be better understood. So, as I'm looking here at Shade Ingram's comments here, I can't help but think that this is some form of mental health disorder that keeps bubbling to the top and is using anger at me to deflect the phobia and the mental health disorder that they have. If they keep commenting, I'll just I'll put it live on the screen and respond live, because I don't have the time to worry about one coronaphobic person. So, yeah. Is that a COVID-19 death? Yeah, that's a good question. If somebody commits suicide because they're afraid of COVID-19, is that technically a COVID-19 related death? I mean, I don't know. But again, everybody's welcome to click the broadcast link. It's in the description. Again, and I can't fix this person's coronaphobia. I mean, it's in live time. So, I mean, we sit here and we go, okay, well, I mean, and this is just one example of the coronaphobic. I mean, in all honesty, um, I'll get the chat on the screen here, because it breaks down what it is that people are experiencing, and I think it is. Yes, you're good. Are we too? So, this actually comes from our friend Mercedes in Nebraska, and it was just a post, just something that I thought, okay, well, this is an opportunity to speak my mind. So you go to her post here, and it says, if you don't wear a mask, that's on you. I'm going to tell you to wear one, just like I tell people to wear a condom. We have too many idiots in the world. Try not to add to it. And I said, I'm not going to tell you that you don't have to wear a mask. That's your choice. You think I'm stupid for not wearing one. I think you're stupid for wearing one. This will never end if we don't stop this circle. I don't think you can be libertarian and think everyone should be required to wear a mask. That's the opposite of libertarianism. And this is where people got offended. Libertarianism is pro-choice on everything, as long as that choice doesn't impact the freedom and liberty of another. If your mask really works, why should I be required to wear one? And now this triggers, as you've seen in that earlier study, this triggers the response to lash out at a thought opposite of what your brain chemistry is telling you, and it manifests itself in a fear known as chronophobia. So, because masks work both ways, they contain your germs so that they don't come back to me, and vice versa. Given the nature of this virus, that some people can carry it and have no symptoms, wearing a mask is essential, but it's your right to opt out. Well, I'm glad that at least Renee here recognizes it's my right to opt out. I don't have to live in other people's fears, and I refuse to. But then came in Shade Ingram. Shade Ingram, because it says, because you not wearing one could limit my freedom to fucking breathe and live, you ignorant, insensitive sack of shit. Shade, you make me feel so good. So just go ahead and tell that to Mama Joe, who again chooses when she wears her mask, how close she gets to people. She chooses how to respond to people. I said, hey, Shade, you can stay 6 feet from people or more and wear a mask or stay home. It's not your right to force me to do anything. And here they come with more of their coronaphobic, mental health disorder here, saying, endangering your life is my God-given right. Go lick some doorknobs then, you rancid cum bubble. And again, I'm telling them, you cannot fix, I cannot fix your phobia. And here goes more. You probably walk around a public park naked, luring at children, and then scream at parents that they can't force me to do anything. This is my right. Well, that's some pedophilia shit there, Shade. And I mean, I'm going to call you chronophobic, but I'm also going to say your brain noodle is pretty pedophilic at this point. You could fix... I could fix your... Oh, and I sent the link, obviously, to this broadcast so they could know that I would be discussing this today, and watch in live time, and even participate if they want. It's up to them. I can fix your stupidity real quick. A week or two of pneumonia would do wonders for you. I've had pneumonia before. It's not pleasant, but the survivability rate of coronavirus is exponentially higher than the seasonal flu. And we don't wear masks for the seasonal flu. So this is just another indicator that you have chronophobia. And so I said you could join the link. They said ew. And then, as exciting as watching you jerk yourself off sounds, I'd rather kill myself. And there's the suicidal ideation that is a part of coronaphobia. So, again, I cannot stop somebody's chronophobia, nor their pedophilic thoughts like Shade Ingram here was having. That's on them, and I won't be a part of that, really. I mean, he's got chronophobic and pedophilic thoughts. I mean, probably a sick person. So, honestly, just a real quick flex right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've been recognized as one of Spike Cohen's top fans. Bruh, yeah, buddy. Got to meet Mr. Spike Cohen as well, because there really ain't no party like the Libertarian Party, and I learned a lot in the last week. I'm glad I went. I'm glad that I participated to the extent I did. I went to trainings, debates, classes. I went to executive board meetings. I went to the platform committee meeting. I had a great time. It was fun. It was something that I needed to restore my faith in this party, that it is a great party. Hey, good morning, Mr. Dial. I did not see your comment there. I really wish you could have been there. I hope that you'll be at the next one for sure. So good morning to you, sir. I did not get to comments fast enough before people dipped out, dodged, and ducked and dived. So I'm really glad I got this hat. And I got a few t-shirts for Joe Jorgensen as well. Let's see here. Let's do this in live time. Let's try to get a pedophilic, coronaphobic person to join the broadcast. What do you guys think? I think we should try. So I'm gonna say, what should I say here in response? I don't know. What should I say here in response? I mean, I want to talk about it with somebody who is coronaphobic. I didn't know he was pedophilic, which is really disgusting. But at the end of the day, you know, let's see here. Alrighty. No harm, no foul. Just wanted to give you the opportunity. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Oh well. Just wanted to give you the opportunity to explain your coronaphobic and pedophilic comments live for the world. I guess pedophilic. Oh, wrong button. I mean, if you're gonna say some pretty sick shit, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to explain yourself at least. Coronaphobic. There we go. To the world. There we go. Boom. There we go. See, this is pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy. I just click. I give you the link to take up half the screen to explain your mental health disorder and why you're saying pedophilic shit. Like, it's pretty gross, man. That's where your mind goes to, and that's where you go to. It's not my mental health we need to worry about. It's yours. I'm just providing the avenue of conversation. I have many, many more people I would much rather talk to and would pray they'd click the link to than a pedophilic, coronaphobic moron like Shade Ingram here. I have no idea why, but that's just the way they want to go today. It is what it is. I can't control people, but I can say you're just as welcome to click the link as the next person. So, again, I recognize people's rights to be afraid. To be afraid to say, hey, I have a fear of this virus. Matt, if I see in the backstage, I guess you're not there now. Okay, I thought Matt might be coming on. All right, got my brain noodle all backwards. I recognize people's right to be afraid. But where I draw the line is where you tell me I have to live in your fear. Where I have to comply and you will use force of government to compel me to do what you're wanting to have done. And so, like I said, I am making it a statement now. If you claim to be libertarian and you are pro mandatory masking, you're not actually a libertarian. You're a little d Democrat who's just afraid to vote for a pedophile. I mean, Joe Biden, I can see why you don't want to vote for Joe Biden. I can see why you don't want to go that route. So you go and you look around and you're like, oh, well, the Libertarian Party's great, but they should all be required to wear masks. You're not a libertarian. You're a little d Democrat that doesn't want to vote for a pedophile. So make that known to people that they don't have a right to force you to do anything. Especially, like I said, I only wore the mask in places where, one, it was super compact, and I'm like, all right, everybody else is wearing it. Fine, I'll put it on my face. And it's not that long. If I needed to utilize the services of a business that required me to, for example, when I got my rental vehicle, in order to get to the rental vehicle place, I had to get into a vehicle that required me to wear a mask or I could not utilize their services. Again, People don't understand that using the government to force people to do anything, it's sad in some circles, they are not libertarian. Libertarianism is not forcing me to do something against my will. Good ideas don't require force in order for them to be good ideas and to have people actually want to do them. I used the mask on the plane because it was required, or they'd turn this bitch around and land the thing. Even though people would take off their masks, they're handing out goodie bags. Think about the irony in this. And this is why the conversation today is about coronaphobia. Because when they're handing out goodie bags with little waters and cookies, and the first thing somebody does is take off their mask, drink the water, eat a cookie, and then what? Magically in the food courts, if you just order food just to sit down and eat, food, magically coronavirus doesn't exist in the food court. Magically it just doesn't happen. So you go, wow, there's a lot of, enforcement of this. There's a lot of enforcement of this that just doesn't make any sense. So bring it back to that libertarian root of I will choose when it is the responsible thing to do to wear this mask. But don't think I'm not going to sit there and recognize that you want to use government against me to force me to do something against my will. Now, the argument that I just want to kill grandma is a ridiculous, what we call a straw man or a red herring argument. So for those of you that don't know, because again, we have dumb people that are out there, we go to our good friend Alphabet again and we go, red herring argument. You couldn't hear that. Hold on. We'll do this right. So you can actually hear it. Red herring argument.
According to literary devices, red herring is a kind of fallacy that is an irrelevant topic introduced in an argument to divert the attention of listeners or readers from the original issue.
So what you're trying to do is say, okay, well, CJ, if you don't wear this mask, you want to kill my grandma. CJ, if you won't wear the mask, you want to kill me. CJ, if you don't wear the mask, then you just want grandma to die. That's the big one that everybody wants to hear. And I keep saying, listen, you in your sovereign little kingdom can enforce your law on your land. You can say, for example, if you live in Abernathy-stan. In Abernathy-stan, we don't have to wear masks. We don't require you to wear a mask. And here's the thing: if you're coronaphobic, you don't have to come to Abernathy-stan. And if you do want to or would like to, you can choose to wear a spacesuit or a mask, even though it's been proven that masks do not help. So when you go to your old friend Alphabet again and say, masks proven by CDC to be ineffective against coronavirus. Where will be? Da, 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 da. CDC. Da, 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 da. I guess I might have phrased that one wrong, but either way, there's been many studies that have been out there saying masks are ineffective. Now, they recommend them, of course, but they're not. If you're going into this going, hey, we need, they're most likely. It's not saying it's guaranteed. Again, I go back to, there's been so much misinformation about what... There's been so much misinformation about what actually is the coronavirus and how it spreads. And I mean, that if you're just looking at the internet, what it's turned into is an echo chamber of you have to wear a mask and I'll make the government make you, to I'm not going to wear a mask, fuck you. And there's no common sense in the middle saying, hey, I watched people, I swear to God, watched people a half a mile from another human being in 110% humidity, 90 degrees, walking down a road wearing a mask. I saw people in their own vehicles wearing a mask. I watched a woman wear gloves and actually take off her mask and eat food with her gloves. And so it makes you go, at some point, this has to be about choice and responsibility. If I have an immune system that is going to kill me if I get the virus, I can't force the public out there to do anything. But I can be safe in Abernathy, Stan. And I can require that people don't come here unless they're quarantined and do all the things I want. That you would use the government against me through force. And as I sat there and I watched, it was no way to understand how people were doing this. It's wear a mask here, but don't there. Some people do, some people don't. But then they stand at security guards at the door and they say, hey, wear a mask, but nobody listens. And you go, man, this is not right. This is not what this world is about. We're at the Libertarian Party. It's about choice. It's about being there together to say, hey, we want to change our country's future. Not participate in a public IQ test, an experiment. To me, I called it the first day a big giant game of hide and go seek. You know, there was incredible people there that I know I didn't see because I couldn't see their faces. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I don't want anybody to think that I don't respect people. I respect your right to choose. But I'll go back to, again, here's my favorite person from the whole convention, Mama Joe. I got to meet Dr. Joe Jorgensen, the presidential nominee for our party. This should trigger some of you coronaphobic people out there. She is one of the nicest people on the planet you can actually meet. She is real. She is honest, authentic, and genuine. She is human. She cares. Yes, she brought a mask so she can choose when she covers her face. Mr. Spike Cohen brought a mask. He can choose when he needs to cover his face. You're not a libertarian if you're telling people that you have to wear a mask. You are a little d Democrat posing as a libertarian. And that's what I saw. I saw a lot of people. Now listen, there were some people, I'll give it to them. They wore the mask the whole time. They socially distanced the whole time. I did not go up to them and pull off their mask and say, shake my hand after I lick it and I shove it in their palm and I say, hey, you need to get my germs all over you. I respected their social distancing. Joe Bishop Henchman actually had no idea who he really was. I gave him elbow bumps. That's what he was doing. Elbow bumps, always wearing a mask, always putting hand sanitizer on. I used hand sanitizer. I washed my hand. We got little bottles that have the logo on it. And guess what? Everybody practiced to their level and comfort for their desired needs. We are about pro-choice. We're not about using government to force people to do anything. So, with that being said, I have been ranting for a very long minute. And there is somebody backstage who I would love to hear from this morning on the topic of coronaphobia and their thoughts on the convention. So without further ado, I'm from Meth Dakota, the state just south of North Dakota. Well, this lady is from Nebraska, which is just south of Meth Dakota. Ladies and gentlemen, Mercedes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh,
Good morning.
hold
How
on.
are you?
Let me go ahead and mute that for you real quick.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I don't have my headphones on today. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm in today. I have a candidate forum at 10:45 with the Nebraska Medical Association.
Ooh, lovely. This should be good.
I'm excited. Because like I've been listening to some of your show. Hey, I'm not wearing headphones, sweetheart. Oh, there's somebody knocking at our door.
Is it the police? Are you being detained?
Okay. I don't know. We're in a hotel room.
Oh no.
We're
Police, you're being detained. It's the masked police, Mercedes.
Hello. Yeah. No, it's okay. We should be out by noon. Is that the checkout time? Is noon?
Aww.
This one time I came to Lincoln during a pandemic for a candidate forum for the Nebraska Medical Association. And I'm staying downtown in a hotel I built, by the way. I welded this hotel. It's a Hyatt hotel. Chief, I worked. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. What's he doing? Is he playing with you? Oh, where's your mask? She has a mask and she wears it. Look, CJ's gonna put on his mask. Look at his mask. You got a mask too, don't you? Yeah.
So good luck keeping a toddler with a mask on.
Honestly, so we put it on her in the car yesterday. We let her pick it out, and we put it on her, and she wears it. And when she's in the back seat, she'll pull it down under her nose, so her nose is out. But she'll leave it on because she's been watching us. So
Okay.
our children are in the car. In the car.
I saw grown adults doing that at the convention.
Okay, so my toddler does that.
Yeah, okay. So for those of you that were wearing your mask like this in Orlando, that's what toddlers do.
That's what toddlers do, and that's just what I mean. I'm not going to breastfeed on campus, sweetheart.
No. I think this is a PG. I'd say 13 show.
Yeah, we're just gonna go real quick. Sorry. So there's this one time that 3/21/2020, I said very loudly, everybody that should wear a mask. Just wear a mask. Be safe. Stop this before it starts. Excuse me, so that we don't have to be 7 months into the pandemic. Yeah, government mandating masks is what that was for. But I was just like, wear a mask. If you're gonna go out, wear a mask because it's better to try to contain it. Yeah, you guys. But that's the point. You can wear a mask. You don't have to wear a mask. If you would like to, do it. I'm gonna suggest it because I can. But if you don't wear it, I've been sharing elevators with people without masks on. I can't hear you, CJ.
Mercedes, now, do you believe that the individual has the right to choose their level of safety?
Oh, definitely. Like my level of safety compared to my family's level of safety, I'm up here. Where is it? I'm up here and they're down here. And which is fine because this is how it was when I was pregnant and had Cora too, because I'm high risk and my family's high risk. So because of that, we take it upon ourselves to do that. And then the people that come into contact with us wear a mask out of just because.
Right. So Mercedes, at the convention, I got all these awesome ribbons, right?
Yeah.
And one of them says, "Give me a hug, but don't cough on me." Now, there was another one here that says, "I don't like touching, stay away from me." Like, hey.
And that's great. That's awesome.
Right. So now, with that being said, if let's say you had came to the convention, okay, and you were sitting at the Nebraska table, and I see you wearing your mask the whole time, but I really wanted to come up and talk to Mercedes from Nebraska. Oh my God, it's you! You're here.
Hi.
Hey, let's get a picture. You could be like, well, hey, I would you mind? And I'm high risk, but I've been washing my hands, wearing a mask. I'm in my bubble suit. I stay 6 feet, but I want to meet you. Hey, would you at least wear your mask? I would respect that.
Yeah, and that's all it takes is communication. Like I will tell people stay the fuck home or wear your fucking mask because that's what we should be doing. But it's not that we should be enforcing that on each other. It's that we should be like, hey, I would like it if you wore a mask. Not wear your fucking mask, wash your fucking hands, or wash your fucking hands. And I say that when I'm fucking mad because, like you said earlier, we have people that are super, super safe. We have people that are that we're just pulling apart, and there is no middle ground right now.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I wouldn't, like I said, force somebody to, I wouldn't walk up to somebody with a mask on and just start coughing on them. That violates the nap.
And I've seen some people within our own party just do that, though. Just go to the extreme and lick doorknobs.
Right. And again, I'm not going to say there isn't the 3% on each side that are just as dumb as the world gets.
Yeah.
But what
I'm sorry.
What I'm trying to say is that at some point, we as a public are only going to get to a normalcy again by understanding that you are responsible for your mitigating risk factors, not me.
Exactly.
And you had a friend in your comment thread there that was saying some pretty stuff, and I can handle it. I'm thick-skinned, but
he's a literal communist. It says it on his Facebook.
I understand that, but my point is that so my mask is our mask.
Yes,
you know,
one for one, all for one. What benefits one benefits all. Isn't that like how that
apparently I'm not a communist. I don't understand the communist manifestos, nor would I ever participate in communism. But
I've only learned about it, and I learned that it looked really good on paper and the ideology was beautiful and Eden-like, but once it's put into practice, it falls apart beautifully. And
I will say one thing I did enjoy about going to Orlando is I got to drink a little bit of that Starbucks coffee for the first time in like months.
Yeah, our hotel has this.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a pretty fucking fluking place.
Now, Mercedes, when you go down to this candidate forum about it's the Department of Health,
Nebraska Medical Association.
Okay, Nebraska Medical Association, and your opponents are going to be there, or?
I don't know. It's a candidate forum. They scheduled this time slot, so I'm imagining I'm not going to see anybody else there. I'm imagining I'm going to come and do my interview and leave because it's a pandemic and they're having in-person things, and it's the medical board, and they're all.
All right, Mercedes, I'm on the medical board. What are your thoughts on mandatory masking in public?
I think that the government shouldn't mandate masks. If a business mandate masks, that's the business's choice. That they're a private business, and it's your as a consumer, it's your choice not to shop there. And that we can all listen to the medical guideline, but mandating it, making it a law it's not going to do anything because it's unenforceable.
Right.
You can't use it unless you enforce it, and you can't. That's not right.
Right. So what I keep seeing in my head is the gulags, where it's like, okay, put on this mask, Mr. Abernathy, and I say no, like a toddler, no, and they say put it on, or we're gonna make you wear it. No,
put it on, or else we're gonna go put you in jail with COVID.
Put it on, or we're gonna go make you get the thing. Yeah. And so. I think that there was a comment, I think it was in one of your threads that said that we would be, or one of your friends maybe, but that it said that if it wasn't mandatory masking, that it was just a recommendation that you would see more people not treating it like a fuck the government, fuck this, and more like, hey, I should be more concerned about some other people's safety than my own.
We'll see here in Nebraska, and I assume in South Dakota as well, because our governors are about on the same level as far as this pandemic and just letting us be free. Our governor yesterday said that he was on a talk show like this, and they confronted him and said, are you going to make it mandatory mandate for masks? He said, no, I'm not going to mandate masks. It will do more harm than good. I want people to take personal responsibility and do what they think is right. And if that's wearing a mask, wear a fucking mask. He didn't say that.
Right. I understand emphasis in conversations. So, you know, at the end of the day, I go, well, you know, I mean, when I go back to the rethinking about the convention, and I know you were watching online, and I know you were voting and participating.
I wasn't voting. I'm not a delegate. I was just watching, so I wouldn't.
Oh, so you didn't miss anything.
No, I didn't actually miss anything.
So you're a Star Wars mask. Cool. You know, that's. But see, the thing is that mask does absolutely nothing to stop the spread of coronavirus.
All it does is keeps my germs to myself. But if I don't cover this enough, I think it is. These masks are double layered with a filter pouch. So these ones are like medical grade. I've made these for medical facilities.
Mercedes, you're talking to the guy that's got Google at his disposal.
Yeah, I know. I've seen all of those, which is why it has the filter pouch, because the point of the masks is it's not going to keep you from getting it. It's not going to, it keeps the germs in the mask, and then the germs are in the mask and you need to wash your mask, or else you're just going to get sick.
Well, obviously, it's like if you put dirty underwear on your face every day, and yeah, it just doesn't work.
Well, if you wear the mask, because I've done this with my husband, because I can see him when he sneezes, I see it come out. It's disgusting. Even when he puts it in his elbow, there's still little particulates that come out. And when he's wearing one of my masks, there is nothing that comes out. It's all in his mask and on his face. So he's dirty inside it on his own.
Right, but my thing is that, again, at the end of the day, what you're doing, and this is just my thought, is that it comes down to, it's a virtue signal, and that's and again, like, to say, hey, I'm here, I'm wearing my mask, get used to it. But where I draw the line, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the KKK loves mandatory masking. All right. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, I hear you. The KKK loves mandatory masking. The KKK loves the idea of everybody hiding their faces. You know, I mean, I'm not even opposed to being masked in public. I like the idea that I can wear a mask anytime I choose and nobody can identify me. I love the idea, but I don't like the idea of it being on the premise of there's some mysterious invisible virus that the government's constantly lying about, and Centers for Disease Control has no idea how it actually functions. And then we go, okay, well, none of this makes any sense. Some places you got to do this, some places you got to do that. None of it makes any sense. So, again, I'm not against people wearing masks. I'm against you telling me if you don't wear a mask, I'm going to use government to make you wear a mask.
And that is actually one thing we agree on in this whole mask debacle, is the government should not be telling you to do shit.
See, when you're like, yeah, right. And so, like, when you see this, you see a picture like this and go, oh, that's what my mask is stopping. All that is what my mask is stopping. All these particulates, all these little germs, that's a bunch of coronavirus, just spewing out right there. And I go, all right, well, again, this is where what you're actually doing is stopping the natural progression of the human petri dish at this point.
Well, this is where science comes into it, and virology, and how viruses mutate, how this virus is behaving, and we can't just think that this is a normal virus, because this isn't a normal virus.
This is a very much just a virus.
It's really
it's less deadly than the seasonal flu.
Okay, but what you're doing is now you're mimicking propaganda that's been put out. So I need you to listen for just a second.
I'm mimicking propaganda. Okay, let's hear it.
No. You're listening to things that are being said and you're repeating them without actually.
I've been doing my research. Go ahead, Mercedes. Floor is yours.
So my mother had this virus and just had a CT scan and still has inflammation on her lungs. She's 47 and it's 5 months. We don't know what this virus does. We don't know the long-term implications. We have children getting Kawasaki disease because of this virus.
Yeah, see, you're repeating propaganda.
I'm listening to the doctors and all of them. I'm not listening to the CDC alone. I'm not listening to the NIH alone. I'm not listening to any one government.
You're about to go to a board of medical examiners, this, that, and the other, and whatnot. Tell them all this.
I'm going to tell them this, and they're going to go, you're right. We haven't studied this virus enough. We don't know how it's mutating. It's mutating faster. It's mutating and it's getting weaker.
You know what I find amazing, though? Is that there is already studies about coronaphobia, more than there is studies about
the actual virus itself.
The actual virus itself.
Instead of doing the research to study the virus so we're not afraid of it, they're using it to scare us. So instead of having these scientific conversations about how viruses evolve and what they do and how they do it, we are going, wear a mask, wash your hands. We don't know what's happening. And we're not going to know because we don't want you to know. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and which plays into the significant risk factors for those that are mentally ill, because there's no concrete evidence of what it is, what it does.
There isn't, and that's why I've done nothing but research this virus with medical professionals. I've been watching I have
You don't think I'm not researching? I'm sitting here in the middle of reading my coronaphobia lecture from the government study here and making a decision on what I believe to be for those of so how I can better understand the coronaphobic on my friends list. So I can say, listen, I care about you as a person. I want to understand your mental health disorder that has been imposed on you by a government that has done this wrong from the get-go. So I can say, okay, well, these people are people that have a fear of death. They have death anxiety. And so therefore that death anxiety, which is already present in that person, is now saying there's an invisible enemy that can come out of anywhere as anyone sneeze. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to know where or how it's happening, but I could die at some point. That's death anxiety amplified in using COVID-19. So, like I said, I'm not trying to say that there isn't a virus that is called coronavirus 19, COVID-19. What I'm saying is that it's going to play into a significant risk into those that have suicidal ideation, death anxiety, that are high risk for other mental health disorders, and
ask yourself this though: why is America the only country left fighting it at this point? Why did all the other countries now have opening? Because also they're not letting Americans into other countries anymore. We're not allowed.
Good. I'm glad the world finally said you guys stay in your sovereign territory.
The passports are like passports now. If you have an American passport, we're barred from other countries except for some islands and one country in the Middle East and one in Africa is what I saw, I think.
Right, and that's okay. I'm okay with that because, hey, you guys stay in your own little sovereign territory known as the United States until you figure out your shit. Then the rest of us are going to just say no, which I'm like, oh, hey, we tried to do it to Muslims with Trump. I mean, we tried to block people from war-torn countries from coming here. So, if they're like, hey, your country went and super spiked in this super killer virus, and we're going to shut you down from coming here, turnabout's fair play in my mind.
I agree. I can't even not agree.
What you're saying is that I have a right to go to another country, and you don't.
You have your own rights in your own country. Once you go to another country, it's not the same rules.
Allegedly, you have rights in your country.
Oh yeah, I forgot that it costs like almost $3,000 to give up your United States citizenship.
Yeah. So yeah,
I like my country.
I think I might start a GoFundMe to like do that, and then at the end be like, nah, it's gonna go to my campaign. I don't know. That might be some fraud there, but it would be kind of funny.
If I have money to defect to a different country, I will if they'll accept me. I'm not. That's not true. I'm not doing that.
Right. And see, the thing is if you don't love America, leave it. Well, where are you gonna go? We can't go anywhere. We can't. There's no country that'll take us. So I just kind of go, well, okay, let's just keep going with what we're doing here. Let's find a party like the Libertarian Party and go try to fix our government from within. And again, I think it's mainly from the Trumplicans that say this. If you don't love it, leave it. And you go, well, no, I love my country enough to fix it from within. You're on mute. So okay, gotcha. Well, I'll
having a meltdown because she wants to go outside and play with the train because our room overlooks downtown Haymarket, and so this is like we're right by the old Lincoln Station. Like I see it out my window, and so there's an old steam train down here. It's a 710 train, and it's beautiful.
Well, what time is your appointment at today?
10:45.
9:45.
10:45.
10:45. So you still got plenty of time to get there. Still got plenty of time to think about what you're gonna say.
So nervous. I mean, my focus is mental health because obviously mental health is the base for 99.9% of most problems, like coronaphobia that I just found out is a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. One of the things that here you can always hit them with some of this where you can go. There was a I took my temperature to see if I was infected with the corona. These are some of the things, behavior skills. So if you've taken your temperature to see if you might be affected, if you've read information on the internet to see if I had symptoms, if you read or watched videos to see if you were infected, spoke with other people about your symptoms, if you spoke with medical professionals about your symptoms. These are all signs that you may be coronaphobic.
See, and at the very beginning of this, I had to come to Lincoln for our state conference, and I got home, and like a week or two, like 3 weeks later, because I was working in food service, I got heckin' sick. I'm talking like I was on 9 different inhalers and an antibiotic, and I was sick for 2 weeks, and then I got better for a week, and then I relapsed for a week, and it was even worse than the before. And at this point, it was right at the beginning, so we had no testing. They weren't the symptoms were fever over 100, shortness of breath, and one other thing. The government made it impossible to get tested. I'm talking impossible. The only reason why I got tested 3 weeks after I came in presenting symptoms is because I had contact with someone that had just come from South Korea.
Okay, well let's do this. It'll be kind of fun here. Okay, so 0, not at all. I'm gonna put it on the screen here. I'm gonna ask you, Mercedes, and we'll see where you're at with your coronaphobia. And this is not at all. 1 is rare, less than 2 a day. 2 is several days. 3 is more than 7 days. And 4 being nearly every day over the last 2 weeks. So I took my temperature to see if I was infected with the coronavirus disease. Not at all. Where do you fit on this scale?
0. And mind you, I've been self-isolating for the last 2 weeks because I was in Lincoln 2 weeks ago, and I did not test my temp once in that 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, you would think that's when you would be testing to see if you do have it, but okay.
Well, if I'm not presenting any symptoms, I'm not going to take my temperature because
all right.
if I'm not,
you're more logical than some. So how about read information on the internet to see if you had the symptoms?
Nah, I'm so connected that I know what the symptoms are.
All right, so you've just got it memorized. So how much, I would say is how much do you think about those symptoms?
Not at all anymore. In the beginning, I will say, when all of this shit was hitting the fan and no one knew what was going on, I was checking symptoms because I was sick.
How about how many times you watched videos to see if you spoke with other people about your symptoms?
Only my mom, but that's because she's exhibiting the same ones.
Okay, and spoke with medical professionals?
Just in the beginning when I was sick, and they were like,
so I would say, so there's some beautiful long-winded math here about adding up your numbers and dividing and getting a scale. I would say that you're not coronaphobic.
And part of that, though, is because my family is such high risk, and that the precautions that they're recommending that people take for coronavirus are precautions that my family already does and has done for our entire lives because my grandma is at high risk. So getting the flu will kill her. She got the flu 1 year and had double lung pneumonia and almost died in the hospital, and they sent her home, and she almost died at home, and then she came back.
Right. And again, I'm saying that your family has the right to mitigate your risk. So for example, Mercedes,
I'm that example because my family's weird.
Mercedes, do you have a bunker 20 feet deep in your backyard in case the Russians were to send us all into nuclear holocaust?
No, but I do know my house is rated for the basement and the root cellar.
So, I mean, what I guess
a 20-foot bunker.
I think coronaphobia and this virus is the new Cold War against the people.
I think that they're using it to continue the division of America to try to push us into a real civil war. And they're using this as fodder to just...
Well, the ones that are going to do this are of no threat to the government, I promise you.
And, honestly, I'm of the opinion of pick your battles. This is... In Nebraska and South Dakota, we are very fortunate in that our state leaders are helping us pick and fight our battles. Kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hate to give the devil a compliment.
Same, but here's the cool thing about my city is our government, with glee at the beginning of this, they were like little school kids talking about this on the press conference. They're like, the government, our state's not mandating anything. We're leaving everything to local school districts and health districts, and you guys decide. So I'm part of the Two Rivers Health District, and so our schools district and they got together in the beginning and were very just on top of it. I mean, my city was just like, this is what we're doing. This is what we suggest. Let's just work together. And my community does that. Do we have people that are really mad that they couldn't go out the whole time and they think it's fake and they don't want to wear masks? Yes. But now everything's open because we all did what we needed to do in order to do that. And but we were in between the two mega hot spots in the state. So we had to hunker down. We were surrounded. We were under siege technically. And we didn't want, because we had 60, I don't know what the numbers are now. Meatpacking plants were hotspots in this state. We had over half of the population that got it. Over half the population that got it were Hispanics, and it's just been kind of hard to watch. But during the height of the pandemic, the governor ordered the health districts to give over coronavirus positive patients' home addresses to law enforcement so that they could enforce their quarantine. And our health district told the governor, eat a dick.
Yeah, I was going to say, at some point, you got to... You know what? That seems to be the Nick Sarwark quote of the convention, though.
Dude, Nick Sarwark.
I actually got to meet Nicholas Sarwark.
I like him.
I had a conversation with him. I explained my feelings and my thoughts. And at the end of it, I told him that, yeah, I kind of earned to eat a dick from Nick Sarwark. I mean, I was being a dick to Nick.
I like Nick. I wasn't sure about him before just because of you and I have been in the party the same amount of time, so I'm sure we've heard the same things about him. And so I was just kind of like, this guy kind of seems like I don't want to play with him. And then after the first sitting, and he noped out. I'm like, what a little bee. And then at the second sitting, and he's all drunk on the floor, and I'm like, okay, yeah, yep, now I get it. Okay, yep.
No. Yeah, and see, the thing is that I had to say it like this, that he's a father. He is a human, granted, yes, robotic, and at some points, but I think that is what happens when you deal with being, I mean, I cannot relate to being the chairman of a national party.
That's a lot of pressure, and that's a lot of, I know yesterday, I have lunch and drinks with our state chair because they were here and we're friends, and I was talking to his wife about everything and how it was going. And
were you all sitting 6 feet apart and wearing masks?
We were actually the only people in the restaurant, and we had already had previous exposure to each other on Saturday because they came to Kearney. So what I like to say is, if you want to wear a mask and you want me to wear a mask, we can, but we're already the same level of dirty, so it's safe for us to contaminate each other.
That sounds like some shit you'd hear at an orgy, where it's well, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine now. We can't turn back now.
It's cool. No.
I'm just saying that at that point you're like, well, we're all sharing the same shit at this point, so.
Well, and that's exactly what I mean. We all share germs, so if you're not going to wear your condom, like, that's why. But like, so yeah, we ourselves, because at the restaurant we were the only people there. We wore our masks in. We took them off the table, and all the staff wore masks.
She's not gonna eat this.
Just throw it away. And then we went to a brewery here in town, and all the staff was wearing masks. None of the patrons were. I brought mine and I took it off. We were sitting at the bar together, away from everybody else, but there's not a lot of mask wearing going on in public places here.
All right, Mercedes. I guess one of the last questions I'll have for you here will be, what happens when COVID-20 comes around and it's the next excuse to lock down and add trillions to the debt, and it's all wonky, and deaths are, if you die of suicide because you have death anxiety, so you kill yourself, is that technically a coronavirus death? They'll label it that way.
See, yeah, I can't answer that because the government saying we're on our own, they're not going to shut down. It's going to be state by state, and I know what our states are going to do. So
we're going to allow for the human petri dish to continue, allow businesses to choose who wears a mask and who doesn't to get those services. And when COVID-20 comes around, it'll be a new.
I wonder, but how do I wonder? Okay, so they called it COVID-19 because that it was discovered in 19. So how far does it have to mutate before it becomes COVID-20? Because we're at 80 different mutations, I think now. I'm not sure.
Well, we need to have it be just like it is if it was the seasonal flu, because it's less deadly. And I don't wear a mask for the seasonal flu. But in conclusion, while I have you here, Mercedes, I want you to know the conclusion of this government study. This study provides the first empirical evidence using incremental validity analysis that the coronaphobia construct, coined by C.J. Abernathy, Adam Kokesh, and many others, not these people, is a unique predictor of psychological distress during the COVID-19 crisis. These results further support the inclusion of instruments such as the coronavirus anxiety scale to study the mental health and well-being of individuals psychologically affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Future research should examine coronaphobia and its influences on psychological well-being over time using large representative samples with longitudinal designs. So, yeah, I told you it's going to go in the dictionary. There's already government studies. And, one of the things is that they're going to set the table for this is a phobia. It's less deadly than the seasonal flu. And just because you have coronaphobia doesn't mean that you can make governments mandate masks, public places for mandating. So I think we're about to see the shift back to the normalcy of, hey, it's people without a mask. Oh, that person has a mask on. Hey, do you want me to social distance from you? Cool. No worries. That's fine. It's all you. But I think we're going to see the throwing away of the masks in public.
I almost feel like the states that shut down will already and will continue to have the highest problems with mental health regarding this because they weren't given a choice. We were given a choice. They weren't. And mental health is my champion, and I care deeply about it. And I can tell you that this virus has impacted my mental health because I don't know what's going on because the powers that be aren't being truthful. And so now we have everything going on and we don't know what the truth is, and we have to make our own educated guesses and hope that they're right. So far, our states have proved that they may be okay. Our spikes are over. And went through the population already.
No, I just got back from Orlando. Am I going to go to the nursing home right now? No.
Are you going to isolate for 2 weeks, or are you just going to take it easy and wear your mask and like you were?
Right. Like, for example, I won't go to the nursing home. I won't go, like, up to people immediately. I'll still participate, but at the end of the day, I have no signs, no symptoms. I'm not going to live in a coronaphobic fear. If somebody else has a mask on, I'm not going to walk up to them and say, hey, I just came from a COVID hotspot. Let me lick your face. But, But I would tell you this, Mercedes. If you were here in Eureka, South Dakota, and you were walking around wearing a mask, at about 10 feet, I'd say, hey, I've been to Florida. That's about as far as we should go. Or if you want me to get closer, I wouldn't mind out of respect for you to wear a mask because I respect you more than I care about coronaphobia and that. So if you're at risk, even if it wasn't coronavirus, if it was other invisible disease government, it makes it an excuse to add trillions to the debt for, I'd still respect you as a person to say, hey, Mercedes, I see you're wearing a mask. I want to get closer to you than 5-6 feet. So I'll wear this mask just so we can have that interaction, but I'm not going to have you go from 50 feet away. CJ, wear a mask or I'm calling the government.
I don't know government. Okay.
So do you understand where I'm coming from at least, Mercedes?
I have the whole time. I just like poking at you because it's fun.
Well, see, you're true or false, you identify as a left-leaning libertarian.
I am a social liberal fiscal conservative. I have a whole bunch of super left-leaning friends, but I myself like to stay more moderate.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
I guess.
Fair enough. You identify as a libertarian nonetheless, though, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. No. Yeah, no.
And you believe in the non-aggression principle that says I will not use force to
force you to do anything. I can yell at you and tell you what to do all day long, but I'm not going to do anything other than that.
I like how Devin Saxon, communications director for the Libertarian Party of South Dakota, said, basically, and I'm going to paraphrase you, Mr. Saxon, that you have the right to make people feel stupid or retarded. But see, the thing is, and this is where I think the divide between left and right, fiscal conservative, liberal, this, that, all the labels, I think that a lot of people don't get it, that it doesn't work to a certain degree. It turns out to feel like bullying at some point. And I'm not trying to bully anybody into my political beliefs. I want people just to understand that I'm a person too, that you got a buddy on there that's saying some pretty interesting stuff, and I'm like, I'm not blaming you.
No, I mean, I'm just like, oh my God, my friends, you are your friends.
You are an influence of the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. You are a conglomerate of those 5 people. It's been scientifically proven. But like I said, I mean, I'm not here to say, Mercedes, let me go meet your grandma after I came from Florida and cough on her. I'm not trying to kill your grandma.
I will legit draw battle lines.
There's some people out there like, CJ, go cough on my grandma. She's got like $1 million in the bank. I'm joking. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Yeah, I live in Americaphobia.
Americaphobia. Oh my God. Wait. Before you go, I gotta find out if you just coined a new phrase. I don't know if it's Americaphobia.
Let's call it Americaphobia.
American phobia, a fear of or aversion to Americans.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, American phobia. A fear of or aversion to Americans.
We're a terrorist organization.
You have a fear of Americans and you're running for an American government seat.
It's not that I have a fear of Americans. It's that I have a fear of certain individual Americans that want my extinction to happen.
I don't want your extinction to happen, no. But I mean, who does? That's what I'm saying. Like, if we're whether it's
my protests have brought out a lot of different people that are really upset that I exist.
Oh, Mercedes, I was going to tell you, you're going to love this. I was invited in my district. There's a town called Gettysburg. It was a town founded after the Civil War and very much named for the Battle of Gettysburg.
Okay, but which side?
It was Confederate soldiers that founded the town. They also, it was and again, I say this it was Union soldiers that moved there as well. It was a town that was both. And what started was George Floyd's uncle is the one that lives there. He owns a small business. George Floyd's uncle lives in my district. Okay. And he got it successfully removed, the Confederate flag from the police patches, and they'll be moving it from all insignia in the town, which is killing the history of the town for sure, obviously. And there's people that are very upset about this. And now I'm of the mindset that you have the right to fly whatever flag you choose as long as you can defend that flag with up to and including your life if you have to. And I've been invited to a protest that's going to go down in a counter protest to George Floyd's taking the Confederate flag. Again, I'm of the mindset of I see your flag. I have my flag, and I fly it higher than your flag. But I don't stop you from flying your flag. And I'll protect your right to fly your flag so long as your flag does not violate my flag. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go. It's in my district. It's a big hot spot. They're bringing down all the rebel flags down to this town that was founded with the rebel flag. And it's in my district. I feel like I'm kind of obligated. It's kind of obligatory.
Yeah, not okay. I protested because my heart told me that I needed to. I'm angry, and the only thing I can do is stand on a corner and hold a "What Would Jesus Do" sign to make it feel better, then fine. Yeah, that's the direction.
I'm of the mindset of this. I went down to the Black Lives Matter protest in Pierre at the Capitol. While I don't agree with the organization function of the Black Lives Matter, the cause of Black Lives Matter is one that is just a cause nonetheless. They have a right to, as long as it's not being run by some organization that's just a Democrat shill fund. But I mean, I agree with their right to protest. I don't think that a city should have to change their history. If he does it the right way by going to city council meetings, discussing, and they vote and they decide as a community to remove something, that's fine. But you know, people have the right to their town's history. I mean, I don't believe. I honestly, I'll tell you what. I've seen a picture of a white man holding a Black Lives Matter sign or flag, and a African American man holding a Confederate flag, and you go, that would be an interesting conversation to listen to. So I think it's all, again, just dividing us by race, dividing us by you know, different causes. And you know, one of the things that I wanted to say about the Libertarian Party is that we didn't get to the platform. And the platform was dangled at us like a carrot, like we can change the platform at the end, and they never got to it. And they never will.
Yeah, I know, right? We don't even know the at-large candidates or the final judicial candidates yet, do we?
I've heard rumors that there was some mixed results. Somebody kind of photoshopped something or something. I won't believe it until I hear it from Miss Harlos herself at this point.
That's where I'm at. I guess stuff got leaked, and there were wrong numbers entered in, and so before it could be fixed, it was leaked, and then there's still leaks going on, and they're like, well, it's for transparency, but it's not, though, because at this point you're just fueling the fire of we still don't know, and we're already concerned with how this convention was going to go, and now our fears have been concerned.
Have you heard of Star Child?
I missed all of Sunday. I am so
okay.
upset.
So Star Child was pushing for a gender equality platform plank change, and Star Child was just a ferocious person on the floor when it comes to their cause. And we got to the end of the convention, and we didn't get to the plank platform issue of parental rights, which was what I was there for. Well, I realized something. It's not that my cause or what I care about is any more or less noble than anyone else's. It's just that they had way too many of those issues to deal with on the platform level. And so if you take up one and you don't take up all, imagine if they had sat there and said, all right, CJ, we're going to take up this platform that has nothing to do with yours, and that's the only one we can get to. I'd be a little upset. So I think they equally, as parents, were like, well, either y'all get it or none of you get it. And while I was upset for a time being there, I thought it was a good exercise in me to exercise the humility of my cause is more or less no noble than the next person's. And, you know, I have a lot of building to do in the next few years. I'm actually going to look to be on platform committee if we can get enough delegates for South Dakota. We talk so much about how to grow our party and how to get South Dakota to go from 5 to 10 delegates. We only need 30 people to join the LP in South Dakota on the national level. And if we can get 30 people, we can send 10 people to the next convention. And then that would give us more of an opportunity to send somebody to platform. But the cause that I care about, and this is something that I want every state to know, even if you don't get it on the national level, you can still form a platform committee on a state level and adopt those things that you had wished you had gotten into the national level. So when we talk about parental rights or whatever issue it may be, it's at least on the state issue. So, but that's what I wanted to say, Mercedes. I wish you could have been there. It was so much fun. You would have got to meet Joe Jorgensen, Spike Cohen, all the regionals.
I've met Joe Jorgensen.
You've met her? Oh, she's
convention.
Oh, and guess what? She's about as honest and real as it gets, huh?
Yeah, so I enjoyed meeting her, actually. So I met her before the convention actually started. We did it's called, I don't remember it. So in Lincoln, they'll have the prohibition vibe still. So this tavern or pub or whatever we went into is prohibition style. And to get into it, you have to go into an alley, into a phone booth, and pick up the phone and give them the password, and then they open the secret door. And that's where we were meeting, the Libertarian Party met. And so
that sounds so fun.
It was so fun. I think it's Lady Luck Lounge is what it's called. And it's in the basement. It's so cool. I think it's in the basement. That might be another one. There's a couple downtown.
I think we're going to have to do something like that for our party in South Dakota. Make it like like you got to put in some work to get there.
Yeah. So I got legit lost. Like I'd been there before and I just couldn't find it. It took me a second. So I went in and then Jorgensen was there. Hornberger came.
What, coronavirus?
COVID. It's happening.
It's happening. The fear, the anxiety, it's here.
No, he vapes and has allergies, so he's just gonna die. Darn. I'm just kidding.
That is death anxiety right there. That is death anxiety.
Anyway, so I met Joe at the bar. And somebody gave me some special chocolate.
Ah.
So I was talking to Joe Jorgensen, presidential nominee for the Libertarian Party. I didn't know who she was.
Wow.
So I knew she was important, so I was being
proper.
Good. You know, it's a soiree. You've got to keep your shit about you when you are trying to drink and be an adult. So we were standing by this retaining wall, kind of half wall thing, and I could tell that she was mimicking me. We were talking because I could tell that she hadn't engaged with people in my age group much. And so I felt like she was kind of stiff. And so I noticed that she was mirroring me a little bit, mimicking me. And that's what psychologists do when they're studying and trying to make people feel comfortable if they're not used to it. And so I realized that she was doing that. And then I started doing it on purpose.
No. Y'all are playing games with each other.
Yeah, we were. It was fun.
I'll tell you what, my favorite part about meeting Dr. Jorgensen is that I now know for certain that I don't regret my support. And that I know for certain that as I told her, when she makes the call that she wants to be on that debate stage with those two, whatever you want to call them, if they're even that at this point.
Wizards.
Sure. We'll give them that. Pedophiles, rapists, whatever words fit for your vernacular describing Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So when she says, I want to be on that stage with those two at this time, and she makes a call out for the veterans and this party, I'm going. I will get in my pickup. I will drive straight through to that stage. I will stand there with a flag waiting for her to go speak, because at the end of the day, she is as real as it gets. I got to give her a hug. I had to ask her, can I give you a hug? Because, it's like, she is honest. She's a real person. It reminds me as if my mother had decided, I'm going to run for president, son. And you're like, no, you're not, Mom. Like, come on, get real. Get real, Mom. It's not happening. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, I'm the nominee for the third major party. And you're like, what? I mean, so you go, what I think was what the best part about it is that she came down and was a part of all of it.
Yes.
And
makes me
you could go up to somebody and be like, hey, have you met Joe Jorgensen yet? And they're like, no, why? And you're like, because she's about 250 feet that way. And if you just get in line where all these people are lining up, she's taking pictures, she's talking about causes, and you can go meet her. And people are like, well, I better get going right now. And you're like, I felt that. So it's like the opposite of chronophobia. It's like joy and adulation, and it's a feeling of unity.
And Spike Cohen.
He's great too. I could go on for an hour on Spike.
Oh, they make me so proud to be libertarian.
One thing about Spike I'm going to say is Spike remembered that we asked him in the very beginning if he'd come by South Dakota at our table and take a picture with us at our sign. And here you're thinking that he's meeting all the people, and all of a sudden out of nowhere our vice chair gets up to go somewhere, and then here comes walking his Spike, and it's like, Greg just left. No, where'd you go, Greg? And it's like, Spike, yes sir. Like, yeah, I mean, you stand up and say hello, and I mean, he remembers. He's got a sharp memory. He's genuine, and I mean, again, at the end of the day, we have a ticket that when you look at it compared to Donald Trump and Pence and Joe Biden and whoever he puts up that's okay with kid sniffing, I mean, at the end of the day, we have a ticket that it's like, I would cross the Delaware with Mama Joe and Spike, and I would go to war with these people.
Heck yeah, they can lead me.
Yeah, and you know what? You tell me when to be there, and I mean, I'm going to watch the online stuff and see all the ads and the events, but when she says, I'm getting on that debate stage, she has the right to be on that debate stage.
Take her out of it. And honestly, I don't know why we don't just host a debate and make them come. We are national.
They will just say that it's a Libertarian Party thing. It ain't us. But if you could get like a national organization to invite all the campaigns, as your mind starts to wander there, you know, like for example, the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, when I was running for governor, said, CJ, if you get the nomination, we'd like to host you and the other two major party candidates for a debate. Okay, because we're not going to get that on the major news networks.
Yeah, so I have an idea. If we reach out to medical associations in our states, do you think that they would host a debate?
I don't know if the president would actually show up for that. That's what I'm saying. Like they're coordinating.
If we get our governors involved, though, because our president likes our governors a lot.
I don't think that any of the parties. This is what I'm saying is that Republicans and Democrats are ignoring Joe Jorgensen because Joe Jorgensen is the one that's like, you can have machine guns on your own property, and you can do all the drugs on your property you want, and you can do, and you can be who you identify as. You can be free as long as you follow the non-aggression principle, and it's like the best of both worlds coming together, and these two are like, you're a rapist, you're a pedophile, and it's like, but Mama Joe's a therapist. And the last thing I got to tell her is that I'm proud of my vote because I think America needs a therapist. If you don't think America doesn't need a therapist right now, you are out of your mind and in a different universe, because we need to have somebody that can go, all right, America, this is what's been happening to you for a very long time. We're going to have a conversation about it. And how does that make you feel?
It's time to have an intervention, and
yes,
Mama Joe is going to lead it. Yeah.
Make America sane again. Aw. I like that, though. Make America sane again.
Can we just start making hats like that? Because I've been equating American government and us as being, as being in an abusive relationship. Daddy government is kicking the shit out of mama government, states and locals.
And we're the kids.
And they're withholding child support.
And we're the kids.
And we're the kids in the middle of this divorce or this toxic relationship where mommy just wants daddy to take care of us or like stop taking all our money and sending us.
I'm of the opposite mindset. I think that there should be a divorce. This has been a very abusive relationship on both ends. And I think mommy government should be independent and daddy government shouldn't exist.
Oh, what? You think that too?
I voted for Adam Kokesh in the first round because I wanted to abolish the federal government. And now I'm of the mindset, let's get a therapist first before we abolish the federal government.
I think, and that's is we need, oh, wait, this is her shirt today. Love wins. Yeah, we're just so naughty. She turns 2 in a month.
Oh, and it's going to only get more terrible from there.
I know.
And you know what? She's got you for a mom, so, I mean, at the end of the day.
Therapy. And you supporting therapy is, like, that's really cool, CJ. I'm proud of you.
I'm supporting a therapist for everyone in America by electing Dr. Joe Jorgensen.
You know what? I love you. Here,
all right, well, Mercedes, it's been a pleasure. This has gone on for an hour and a half. You're always welcome, as you know. But hey, before you go, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at votemercedes.com or votemercedes2020 on Facebook. And I do now have a LinkedIn page, but I don't know how you would get there. So.
Mercedes. Where is it at, Mercedes? Why isn't your Vote Mercedes page coming up for me?
Vote Mercedes 2020 on Facebook?
Oh, no, your website.
Oh, it's votemercedes.com.
Oh, I put the 2020 in there.
Yeah, I wanted that too, but we went for Vote Mercedes so that
Well, yeah, but again, if you can keep it for longer.
Yeah, and that's what we did. Is instead of dating if I don't win this
Wait,
election.
you have somebody else that has. Oh, that it. Hang on, I got to make sure I type this out right. Vote Mercedes. Why is it saying it's going to?
What happened?
Okay, there you are. I was like, wow, why is it going to some like doctor's page?
It went to a server page for me.
Yeah, no, here we go. So yes, please go down. As you can see. What's that?
111 days until the
111 days until the election, and you can help this fine lady out in her bid to become the state senator for
state legislative. So yeah, senator,
state senator. Yep, state senator for what district again?
37. It's just still kind of weird for me because I'm just a normal redneck girl.
Yeah, but you're gonna be able to say you ran for state senate, and then if you don't win, what happens then? What happens next? Again, if
I don't win, I am going to just keep within the party and keep doing what I'm doing and see. I think I might run for the NRD.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. I don't know. I haven't really gotten past November yet because I have to get there and lose first.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long 111 days, but we'll get there. So, all right, Mercedes.
And we'll go from there.
Right. All right, Mercedes, as always, a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for coming on this morning. We will see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Mercedes, you're great. Anyways, Legislative District number 37, Mercedes. Vote Mercedes. That is the website. And again, just I absolutely love having her on. So with that being said, you guys, ain't no party like the Libertarian Party because the Libertarian Party don't stop. I will see you guys next time.
Welcome to